Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Hypothetically Speaking, the show where we talk about anything unexplained, unsolved, and unnatural. I'm Bree,
I'm Morgan.
And I'm Allison. All
and
right.
yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so today on Hypothetically Speaking, I would like to bring something in from the periphery of maybe my time on the show, which I think largely a lot of what I do is ocean centered, um, you know, born out of the deep fear that I have of bodies of water. Um,
A
They
very
are
and
valid
horrifying.
fear.
Yeah.
yes, we have largely talked about eels and how uncomfortable they are for us. They're everything from their like reproductive cycle to just the way they are. The fact that so many things we call eels are not actually eels at the electric eel. But today I want to raise to you an argument of a creature that I think rivals the eel, um, and I think deserves a space in the hall of um, horrors, if you will.
Okay.
And that is an incredibly adaptive and efficient animal, which I think makes it all the more terrifying, and it is the jellyfish.
Oh,
That's fair.
Hmm.
yeah, I can see the vision. You texted about something to rival eels, and I was like, I think we have to do that.
Uh,
Yeah, so one thing that I think separates the eel and the jellyfish, for me, which makes the jellyfish more terrifying than the eel, is the fact that the jellyfish is becoming more powerful,
oh,
whereas eels, of course, are losing. Uh, Some of them are like in danger. They've like
yeah,
lost a lot of numbers, which is, unfortunate because it's all sort of part of the ocean ecosystem, and I'm gonna
yeah.
respect that. But um, some estimates say that within 40 years, uh, jellyfish could be the dominant species in the ocean.
Oh, huh.
I am not the biggest fan of that.
I dislike that, but like good for them, I guess.
It makes me think of
Yes.
the jellyfish lake that's in the Spooky Lakes
Oh,
book.
yeah,
How
Hmm.
it's literally like entirely sun jellies.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, Obviously
This,
jellyfish are like really broad, so I won't get into like super duper specifics, but I
yeah,
did come across the that lake in my research as well.
yeah. And I will say, as someone who developed a fear of the Portuguese man of war jellyfish
Mm.
specifically as a child because it showed
Hmm.
up in like a spy book that I read when I was little as like the villain's bad pet that they like threaten them with, I don't like this news.
I
Mm.
read, or it wasn't even reading. It was one of those fears that came from watching Animal Planet.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was like Portuguese man of war, blue ring octopus,
Hmm.
pufferfish, all of
Yeah.
those terrifying.
Yeah. The like box jellyfishes,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Like we
Which,
are so
Yeah.
landlocked, it's not a problem, but it's not a problem in the way that like quicksand and volcanoes are not as big of a problem as you expect as a child
Yeah.
usually.
I anticipated a lot more stop, drop, and roll in my life, if I'm going to be honest with you. Uh,
Yeah. All right. So getting into jellyfish, first we need to think about how incredibly old this creature is because they have been in our oceans since the mid-Cambrian period, which is a also a shout out to when Bree did the um, Cambrian explosion
It was a good time.
episode. Um,
I should get with
they
Guy. Hold on.
we'll wait.
Oh,
yeah.
oh, I stepped on the cord, not the box. Good. Hold on one second.
Ah, yes, the Cambrian explosion. What a time
Yes.
for ocean animals. A
Yes.
prime time to come into existence, but so many of them don't exist anymore. It's wild that they're still around, to be honest,
Hmm.
and thriving,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yes. Just doing better from here on out.
Oh,
Oh,
spectacular.
so good. So good.
Oh gosh. Lobe fish.
Okay. Yeah, so
He's
going
gonna
back
sit over
500
here.
million years ago, which is an like unbelievable, unbelievably large amount of time, is sort of when we have, oddly enough, fossil records of jellyfish, which is like, I don't know, incredibly strange, but like they form the way any other fossil does. Like it's just like sediment that gets packed onto them. Although notably there are like less fossilized jellyfish because they're so watery, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
but
Oh,
because
yeah, so
like
one,
you can't really get fossilized sharks very good because like they're all cartilagey, so it's weird to
yeah,
think of a fossilized version of a jellyfish because they're like more goo than shark is, I would assume.
hmm,
yeah. It's definitely the more bony fish obviously have a bigger representation, but
Yeah.
really if you stick anything in enough mud with the right conditions, it can fossilize.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So one of the, I guess, more prominent fossil records comes from Canada, actually, the Burgess Shale of Canada, which is likely a like stem of a type of box jellyfish. And then it's called the Burgess Medusa, Burgess Medusa, Burgessomedusa. Medusa. Okay, apologize for like the
It's okay.
pronunciations of these, but you know,
We get the vibe.
yeah. So that's sort of one of the more like actually recognizable true jellyfishes. Although they do have some other sort of fossil records throughout like the United States and Utah and some other areas that like are like less explicitly jellyfish. But yeah, so there's a lot of different kinds of like types of jellyfish. There's also, it's also like a very large like family of species, I would say. And who has the time to learn that? So, I'm
It's
mostly
probably
focusing
body shape.
on, yeah, I'm mostly focusing on the cipher zone, cipher zones and the some of the like hydra zones. So those are sort of two larger groups of jellyfish, but they have very similar life cycles. So jellyfishes start with basically as like larvae or panula, which are sort of just floating in the ocean, and then they fall to the floor or they find some other kind of anchoring site um, to sort of anchor themselves, and they continue to grow. They turn into planula that is where these um, and then they turn into something called a polyp, which is like, it's really hard to, it's really a strange situation, but basically the polyp is like a almost like a colony where polyp strobelates come from. And polyp strobelates are sort of the babies. They're sort of pre-development, um, and then those sort of detach from the rest of the colony, the rest of from the polyp, and then they go off on their way and
Okay,
become
so
what is called a medusa, which is also a creepy name for a creepy animal.
so the eggs all kind of come together like they do for some of the other fish species. Like I feel like clownfish kind of do that also.
Yeah,
Ish,
kind of.
vaguely, kind of.
Kind of. It's like
I mean, not the same, but sort of.
a polyp is almost like its own kind of organism that
That's
like
fun.
like stuff grows off of.
I don't like that.
It kind of
Yeah.
gives the same vibe as coral, but
Yes.
more mobile.
So coral
Fun.
and anemones are also part of the same, like, uh, are related, I will say, because I don't want to like make any large
Sweeping assumptions.
sweeping assumptions. Yeah. Um, so then they basically grow into the medusa, which is sort of what we think of as jellyfish, right? They are the bells with all the tentacles, and they swim around and cause havoc and do other things. Um, I would argue that they mostly cause havoc, but I'm
How
maybe
do
a little bit anti-jellyfish after my
do
research.
you know if any jellyfish go deeper than like do they hit like Twilight Zone and stuff, or are they primarily up on the
Yeah,
surface where there's more light?
jellyfish exist at pretty much every single level.
Oh, d didn't
Yes,
don't love that. I
they exist at every single level and in every single ocean,
I regret
including
knowing
into
this.
Arctic oceans, and like up around the poles even. Notably, jellyfish actually make up about like 40% of penguins' diets. So,
Huh.
I did not know that.
yeah.
Cool.
Um,
Way to go, penguins, eating all the
yeah,
jellyfish, I guess.
yeah. But
They gotta
at like,
send somebody down. Or they gotta stop sending people down. We know enough about the deep ocean. I don't want to learn anything else.
It's okay.
we don't need to know more.
Every time I learn something new, I just hate it and I'm afraid of it a little extra.
Yeah,
Whatever those things are where they have the really long arms that skate along the bottom.
Yeah, no.
we're not in favor of exploration here.
Block and report.
We
There are plenty of things we could be exploring that are not the scary ocean. Just saying.
we know enough. That's all we need to know.
The cold
Um,
embrace of space is
yeah.
much preferred to whatever's going on down there.
There's something more safe about it.
Like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to go to space either, but like, it kind of freaks me out less than deep ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Maybe
would
it's because
prefer
it's
the
much
like,
more ephemeral. Like the deep
yeah,
ocean is, in theory, you could get there, and I think that makes it worse.
The
yeah,
fact that it's a little more approachable, if you will.
Yeah.
yes, yeah. I think there's something about there not being any like light that is so
Hmm.
unnerving, right? Besides, I
Well,
guess the like
I don't
occasional bioluminescent
I don't know
organism.
though. Like I kind of like the dark. Like I've gone underground into like the Sanford lab and like they turn off the lights on there and it is dark. You're mile down in the cave. Like
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. But like the ocean is you have a lot less control over that.
yes. The other thing about that's so scary about it, because I would agree with you, where like being in the dark isn't necessarily like scary. Being in the dark when there are creatures that
The
have much
fish,
better senses
yeah.
designed for that level of light
Well, and the
is
ocean
scary.
creatures that live at that level look horrifying. Like the deeper you
Yes.
go in the ocean, the scarier the fish look.
Also, giant squid are one.
Basically a
Six-gilled
kraken.
sharks. Yes, six-gilled sharks, terrifying. And incredibly ancient creatures
Ghost
as well.
sharks with their jaw thing.
Yeah.
Dislike.
Yeah. Greenland sharks live really deep too, which
I
are,
I like Greenland sharks more just because I know they're sharks, but they have more of a grandpa
yeah.
friendly vibe than a ghost shark does to me.
Yeah, I think that Greenland sharks are, I don't know, they they scare me because they are like still predatory, um, but they like live for so long. Like I don't know, I think of them as like a really old serial killer.
Like
Uh,
Columbo's on the case.
Yeah, like they're still gonna get you.
they're
Also they
just like
like
the snail coming at you
yeah.
slowly.
Also, yeah.
The snail.
they are also like toxic. Like their meat has like really high levels of urea and they have to be like cured in a really specific way.
Okay, similar to, aren't squids and octopus similar where they're very high in
Um,
I'm pretty sure they're pretty high
urea?
risk. Like
mm,
there's certain types of sushi that are made with those specific types of fish
yeah,
are like really specific in preparation. Otherwise, it will be like really hazardous. So like I think that's probably part of why that is. But I
yeah,
also live in the Midwest and do not prepare fish personally. So
yeah. I think
shrug.
that squid and octopus, it also might depend on like the kind too. Like some, but
Yeah.
squid are also like, you know, there's a type of squid that um Hamburg squid maybe? I don't know. But they um Humboldt squid that like they sort of travel in really large groups and
Oh,
if you and they live in really sort of treacherous areas so like fishing expeditions for them will are like can be very very dangerous not only to get there but also if people fall in they're not coming out because of how like aggressive these squid are which they're being caught so it's not like I can like you know
Fault them for that, but
I'm
yeah.
also,
not gonna yeah
how dare
uh
you try to defend yourself? Ugh.
yeah it is a little bit further than defense they're also like cannibalistic when one gets caught they will you gotta pull them up fast or it could be
Yeah.
cannibalized.
There's a
Um,
shockingly large number of wild animals that are cannibalistic.
including jellyfish.
Ah, another wonderful thing to add to the tally.
Yeah.
I
Anyways, a really good segment back on track. Um,
jellyfish.
yeah, the lifespan of jellyfish is they are not very they don't live very long. Some of them live like a matter of days, and then some of them can live a couple years, but it really depends. And then little is sort of known about sort of their early stages because it's all on the seabed. Um, and then like that's hard to like study in the wild. So one note about them though is that like asexually reproducing jellyfish, the like larva basically that like what is it called? The polyp can sometimes live for several years producing new medusae, like each year. So that can, yeah, like that sort of colony can
Huh.
live for like years.
Is it
Um,
like all the same initial eggs are like just surviving that long, or do like new eggs
yeah,
essentially just attach onto it, or like,
it's not exact. They're not like eggs. It's like it's
yeah,
sort of the
kind
like
of tadpole stage-ish?
kind of yeah. So the original sort of larva egg type of
Yeah.
deal anchors on and then grows into this polyp that like spits off jellyfish.
Okay.
That's so creative.
It is
Why
so
do you
creative.
work like that?
I've
Um,
never heard of a life cycle taking
yes,
on quite that, but very interesting.
yeah. Notably, there is a one specific popular, I guess, species of jellyfish that could potentially be biologically immortal. So this is the Turritopsis, Turritopsis, da Daharni. Um, anyways, this is so basically it begins like other jellyfish. It starts as like this free swimming larvae and then plants in or anchors in somewhere and then gives rise to this polyp that has like basically the polyp is sort of like a colony of jellyfish, right? Like a little bit. And then Um, Basically, each jellyfish coming from one of these polyps is like genetically identical clones. But the weird part is that the pulp forms into an extensively like branched form, which is not usually common in other jellyfish species. Then the medusae bud off the polyps and continue their life in free swimming form, eventually becoming sexually mature. When they are sexually mature, they are known to prey on other jellyfish species at a rapid pace. But uniquely with this jellyfish species is that if they are exposed to environmental stress or physical assault or they get sick or old, they basically revert back to the polyp stage and can go and anchor again and form a new polyp colony.
Huh. And like jellyfish largely move around on currents, and so it being like biologically the same kind of jellyfish seem like they wouldn't really have memories based on how they function.
No, they also
So
don't have,
like I don't think they really have brain system to my
no.
knowledge.
No, they don't.
So like it's odd to think of a just like thing with no thought that just infinite loops through the ocean.
It's like a phoenix, sort of.
Yeah, except that instead of just one, it's like every time it dies, like there's
A bunch of
like a
them.
bunch. Yeah, which is why they're so prolific, right? Is
Yeah.
they just reproduce really, really well.
I don't know what to say about these because genuinely I am so baffled.
Yeah.
No thought, float in carbon copy? Question mark.
Yes. Yeah. And they don't have a brain. They also don't have a lot of organs that most animals do. They don't have a heart and they don't have lungs. Um, they basically take in oxygen through their skin.
Hmm.
And that's how that goes. Um, but yeah, so basically the way that a jellyfish is so it's like the bell, which is like the I don't know, head or whatever you want to call it. Within the bell, there's like some organs. So like there's the gonads, which are the sexually reproductive organs. It also has like a stomach in that there, and then in the center of that is like the mouth, but the mouth is also the anus, which is fun for them. Um, and then it's sort of around the bell is there's like a ring nervous system, which the ring nervous system does sort of respond to stimuli. So there's sort of some like very, very loose comparisons to a brain there, but I definitely wouldn't call it like a thinking organ. Um, there's also a like muscle ring around the bell, which is why it's sort of the way they move is, like a
Yeah.
kind of,
Undulation or whatever you
yeah,
would call it.
yeah. And then there is, of course, the stinging cells in the tentacles, which are the nematocysts, is what they're called. And these stinging cells are really unique because they, I mean, obviously the venom is like can be deadly in some cases to humans, but not all species with venom actually does affect humans. Um, Usually it's just sort of meant to catch prey, um, which prey can be anything from like shellfish, small fish, plankton, phytoplankton. Um, but
So,
then, yeah,
question, I presume they don't have teeth. How do they go about eating anything that's bigger than like cell sized?
Yeah, so it sort of depends on the size of the jellyfish of what they can eat. But basically, prey will get stuck into their tentacles, and it'll trigger millions of these nematocysts that it will pierce the skin, like a little harpoon almost, like it's even barbed, and then it'll inject the venom. And so then these prey are like sort of possibly dead, but possibly just
Paralyzed or something.
paralyzed. And then the other tentacles will kind of like bring it up to the mouth, which is inside the bell. And then there's like the stomach is inside the bell too, which will digest the food and then spit out whatever's left.
I hate that.
I knew that it was a venom or like something of the sort, but I didn't know that it was like injected like other venoms are, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess I've never thought of a, I think
It
I
didn't
had
feel
a
like it would
very,
poke you.
yeah,
Hmm.
I had a very SpongeBob understanding of a jellyfish sting.
Yeah.
Or it's more of like a
Fair.
zap or like a, I don't know, almost like topical, like it
Yeah.
touches you.
Yeah. Yeah. Almost like and I guess it does sort of can cause like anaphylactic shock, but like, yeah, kind of just like, I don't know, almost like a toxin, like how like
Yeah,
frogs are, not so much like a a barb that goes into your skin.
Yeah.
exactly. More of a poison than a venom
Poison dart
situation is sort
frog
of what
kind
I
of
was
vibe.
envisioning. I knew that
Mhm.
they like use their tentacles to get the food up to them, but yeah, that's interesting. I had wondered if it was like a spider situation where it sort of
Yeah.
semi-digests it for them, but apparently
Mhm.
not, just captures.
Mhm. Yeah, notably, um, so one kind of really interesting thing about jellyfish is their like visual organs, I guess. Most jellyfish are like maybe more just photosensitive and so like can react to light, and stuff like that. But for the most part, they don't see the way we do, except for like box jellyfish, that type of jellyfish, like have much more developed like visual organs, much more like eyes. Um, and they're really weird.
Yeah,
So,
that sounds odd.
yeah, so they, okay. So there's basically like eyes that are, so there's sort of like two main eyes on a lot of them. And then there's like 24 other like proto eyes maybe around the body, around the like bell, giving it essentially 360-degree vision.
No. It gives a similar vibe to like when you see the spiders with all the eyes, and that's just unsettling, so I can't imagine that I would like this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like some sensory organs they aren't like visual organs in the way
Yeah.
we have visual organs, but
Hmm.
like water bears have light sensing sort
Yeah.
of thing where it's not eyes,
Yeah.
but they are visual in a way. But yeah,
Yeah.
that so
Some
many
of
things I've never considered that are so horrifying.
Yeah, so some of the eyes on box jellyfish can, like, some of them can see color and some of them don't.
Hmm.
So they're also just very,
They vary by eyeball. Well,
it
maybe
it
not ball.
does.
I don't even know what shape they are. They could be different shape, but
It's it just depends, man. Um, yeah, they're really strange. Um, the two like main ones. I don't know. They look like they're such funny creatures. I encourage you or anybody listening to like look it up because I'm not gonna like put it on do like a screen share or anything. But like look up box jellyfish eyes, and I think you'll be honestly a little delighted. It's kind of a fun image, but also troubled.
I'm looking.
Um, as far as the size of jellyfish, they range from anywhere from like very minuscule, like millimeters, sometimes even less than a millimeter, to over 2 meters across. Notably, the lion's mane jellyfish in I think usually around Japan can be huge with
Are you seeing
I'm
huge.
sorry, I'm
your
looking at their eyeballs. They're
I'm
wild.
I'm looking at their eyeballs too.
I know, why are they like that?
They look like
It's
a mind flare.
it kind of looks like someone put googly eyes on a jellyfish.
Ew.
Mhm.
Ah, that's
Uh,
fantastic. It's so derpy.
Yes.
I love it,
Oh,
and I also really hate it.
so
Yep.
lion's mane jellyfish.
Yeah. So the lion's mane jellyfish, which so the lion's mane jellyfish can be up to about 2 meters, like the bell can be 2 meters in diameter. And then the length of the tentacles can be up to 36.5 meters long,
Jeez.
Oh,
which is 119 feet and 9 inches.
I was gonna say I'm not very good at the metric system, but
Yeah.
that's a lot.
It's a lot of Paxtons.
I don't think it's like reasonable to measure this in Paxton size, to be honest.
That is absurd.
It's a lot of comfort
Yep.
sticks.
Yeah. Um, so that's almost a football field in
Oh
length.
my gosh,
Like
Americans
how
will always measure in a football field, but like
yeah,
truly that is
yeah.
insane scale. For
Like
Yeah.
how
context, the comfort stick was like 2 yardsticks with a little rabbit attached to the end, like a toy rabbit. If you don't know, you don't need to know anything else. But
it's
that's
just
what it
two
was.
yardsticks taped together,
Yeah.
essentially. But to think about tentacles the length of a football field, like when I think about having hair that's really long or like anything like that, I think about how tangled and just inconvenient that would be. Like
Mhm.
how do you not we put a lot of stuff in the ocean that should not be there. How do you not get all tangled up and stuff all the time?
Um, I think that that does happen. The tentacles can kind of like there's like sort of other so there's like stinging tentacles and then there's non-stinging like arms that I think like can go through and like clean the the tentacles. But yeah, it's absolutely insane. Most lion's mane jellyfish do not grow this large. It's pretty rare, but yeah, that is sort of the max size that they've seen. They can also weigh like like incredible weights, up to 440 pounds for
Dang.
like the large ones.
And like I have to say, I don't have a very solid idea of the weight of like I don't even know what to call the substance that a jellyfish is made out of. Like
It
I wouldn't call it meat, but whatever plasmoid type thing it is, it
Yeah, it's
seems
very plasma colored.
yeah.
like it's denser obviously than like water or something would be, but like it doesn't seem like it would just be like super heavy.
Yeah, it's like there's like I know there's like collagen in it in
Yeah.
sort of the like body parts
Yeah,
of it.
it makes me think almost of like a cell wall
Yeah,
or like frog goo, like frog
yeah,
egg casing I don't know. It's
Yeah.
definitely it's got to have a lot of water in it for sure. Like
Yes.
it's a very they're probably very
Okay,
I don't know what you'd
so
call that.
the outer layer of the jellyfish is called the epidermis, which
Hmm.
is what
Skin.
outermost layer of like
Yeah.
pretty much everything is.
Skin. Yeah.
So it's just the outermost layer of cells that cover its body, and the middle layer is the mesoglia, which is like a thick gelatinous and elastic substance that forms the bulk of its body, giving it
Yeah.
the jelly-like texture. And then the inner layer is a gastrodermis, which is like the gut cavity for like digestion and stuff. So like they're essentially goo. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a false thought
Yeah.
that we had.
95% is.
Goo encased in skin. Fork found in dishwasher? I don't know.
Um, uncomfortably, I think that's pretty accurate.
They're like they're like the pocket things. The jelly pocket things that you used to play with as
Oh,
a kid.
yeah.
You know the
Hmm.
thing. The
Yeah.
you had one
Yeah.
as at one point when we were
Yeah.
in college.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so they're just they're so weird. So they also eat a lot. Um, they mostly eat like planktonic organisms, which are like crustaceans, really small fish. They will eat fish eggs, and we'll get into that later because that's something else we need to talk about. They eat larvae, and then they'll eat other jellyfish. And then they'll like ingest the food and like get rid of the undigested waste, basically by like spitting it out. They hunt passively, so they basically will drift up and then then like kind of expand their tentacles and like sink through the water to let the sort of catch whatever they can. Um, and then yeah, the tentacles work by like stunning the or killing the prey. And then they'll like flex it up to the mouth, which is gross to think about. It kind of reminds me in some ways of like a Venus flytrap, I guess.
Yeah,
I
almost
can see that.
plant-like.
Yeah. Um, but they are also obviously we talked about how like penguins eat them, but they're also eaten by other um other types of animals. So sea
Anemone.
anemones. Quoting Nemo there.
Don't hurt yourself, kid. Don't
They'll
don't sea turtles really like them or
yes, yes, sea turtles do as well. So sea turtles are like a very big predator of them. Specifically leatherback sea turtles. So they sort of work to keep the populations in check. Um, and then tunas, sharks, and swordfish will also eat them.
I
Interestingly, though, when
can
they're washed ashore, onto like the beaches, sometimes like foxes and other mammals will eat them, or like birds will eat
huh.
the when they're washed up the bodies, I guess.
fascinating. I didn't really foresee them being eaten by tuna fish, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Didn't
forget
see that
sometimes
one
that
coming.
tuna are somewhat carnivorous.
Yeah.
I think mostly carnivorous.
Yeah. That's why they're a higher mercury fish. Anything that eats
Yeah,
other fish is higher in mercury.
yeah.
That's why shark is so like you should really not have it, but if you're gonna have it sparingly sort of thing.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's also jellyfish actually are also part of that, obviously. But like they've like detected levels of radiation in jellyfish too. So that can also potentially work its way through the food chain through jellyfish, which is fun.
They gave it to the shrimp.
It's
Hmm.
probably all the stuff we throw in the ocean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm certain that that's why. I'm curious
Yeah.
now if they have, if there's, and not that we need to look it up, but if their skin's sort of like absorbent in the way that like,
Yeah,
like
well,
frogs are, and maybe they're just like
if that's how they get
absorb
all their
radiation easily.
oxygen, if you absorb
Yeah.
oxygen like that, I'd assume you'd absorb radiation
Yeah.
too.
I think they can definitely absorb plenty of stuff. Also, basically, they filter through things in the ocean, because of the skin, but also because of the way they feed. And like, if it's in the ocean, it'll probably end up in a jellyfish kind of thing.
Horrifying. Thanks.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, there are some cases of symbiosis with jellyfish. So there's some fish that are like immune to the stings that will like live among the tentacles and can be like serve as like bait in a fish trap. And then um it also will like keep the smaller fish safe from potential predators because they can like just hide in the tentacles. Um, the cannonball jellyfish has a symbiotic relationship with 10 different species of fish, and the long-nosed spider crab, which can live inside of the bell and then shares the jellyfish's food and also nibbles on the jellyfish tissue.
Okay, so I don't know what a long-nosed spider crab looks like, but just from that name, I assume I would hate it.
And they were roommates.
Uh,
Um, they're no, I think as far as crabs go, they're actually kind of cute. It just looks like a
okay.
kind of like a normal crab, but it almost has like this type of like funnel where its mouth is.
Oh yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, they're not too bad. I
They
mean, they're
are
creepy in the way
vaguely,
that all crabs are creepy,
I don't
but
like
you're
that
not
they're
getting around
kind
that.
of pick shaped,
Yeah.
but like they're not they're crustacean-y, which is
Yeah.
not
Hmm.
the worst shape in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. Jellyfish have like really good abilities to sort of regenerate, too. So that's why it's like the crab can eat jellyfish tissue, and I guess the jellyfish is fine with that.
Fascinating.
Yes. Um, I think now we'll move into sort of the like modern horrors of jellyfish, if you will. And that is
Wonderful.
mainly jellyfish blooms, um, which are basically when there's certain environmental conditions and ocean currents, there's like certain amounts of nutrients and the sunshine and the temperature of the ocean. And it's also dependent on the season, prey availability, and then reduced predation, and then also like lower oxygen concentration. But like tons and tons and tons of jellyfish will bloom in one specific area, um, which has like is causes like almost like ecological disasters in the area. So jellyfish are they're really like they can really sort of take over an environment because um they will they basically filter through everything. So they like all of the sort of plankton and phytoplankton, they'll eat all of that up, which includes like different fish eggs too. And so it really hurts any kind of populations of fish in the area. Um, and then basically like it leaves these areas without like basically like dead zones almost. Because they can like consume along the entire water column. It's not just sort of at the top or the bottom, it's like the whole thing. Um, and then, yeah, so there's sort of, once it sort of starts, right, because they're eating everything, including fish eggs, there's sort of not the opportunity for more animals to get in there and, or like predators besides maybe sea turtles to eat them. And then they can just sort of continue reproducing. And then this can happen in areas where areas that have been overfished anyways. So like if the natural predators like tuna and swordfish and sharks are all sort of have been caught or their numbers have been reduced, it allows for these blooms to happen. Um, there's other issues that cause them too. So like the nutrients from agricultural runoff, um, which include like nitrogen and phosphorus compounds, will increase the growth of phytoplankton, causing algae blooms. And then when the phytoplankton die, that also creates a dead zone that like um, kills basically fish and other animals, but not jellyfish. So that also
Oh,
allows them to bloom.
Hmm.
Um, what's really kind of worrying is that these blooms are increasing in frequency and they can have really worrisome effects on human infrastructure. Notably, I feel like I'm saying notably a lot, but uh, like especially power plants, like I don't know, nuclear power plants.
Hmm.
So nuclear power plants along coasts primarily,
I don't
uh,
love that.
they pump in water to kind of keep things cool, water from the ocean, and if a jellyfish blooms near them, they will get sucked into the like
Cooling system.
cooling systems, and can be really, really dangerous. Uh, because if, right, like, because basically the cooling system is being disrupted, which obviously is incredibly dangerous for power
we
plants.
have ample evidence in the world and from this show why that is
Mhm.
not good.
Yeah. Um, maybe like less concerning, but they also have really negative effects for tourism. So in areas that like heavily rely on tourism, it can be a really bad scene. Even if they're just sort of lasting for, I don't know, a little bit of time, it can still have very poor effects on the local populations that rely on tourism. Um, yeah, but like in the past like decade, 4 power plants have been shut down because of jellyfish.
That's a pretty substantial amount.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not tons of nuclear power plants to begin with, so like that's I did not foresee that at the beginning of
Hmm.
this episode.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, ultimately like jellyfish are they're just weird. Like ultimately on top of like all of their weird physiology, they're also like some species are like capable of doing immense harm to humans, capable of killing humans. And on top of that, they're sort of like just becoming a more dominant species in the ocean because of, different factors, right? For one, they're not like really affected by ocean acidification. They also can like live in areas um, where other like fish can't, and then like their natural predators are sort of being uh, affected by a lot of different factors, and um, they just pose really, really horrifying threats to different infrastructure that we have.
Well, and it's wild just to have survived since the Cambrian explosion. Like I know there are some species, like you're gonna have some like sponges and things like that in the ocean that probably have lasted that long or longer, but like
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm just saying the number of species that are of that age has to be somewhat low, I would think.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of ancestors, but there's also a
Yeah.
lot of not obviously because of like the Great Dying and things. I think the
Yeah.
Great Dying had a pretty
Yeah.
Yeah.
extinction events,
Well, and
but
they survived several mass
yeah,
extinction events,
Yeah.
so
similar to the sharks, similar to the skates,
mhm.
similar to the crocodiles. I
Yeah.
didn't. It makes sense that jellyfish go so far back because their body composition is just so foreign to like most other things. I suppose
Yeah.
like anemones are similar, or there
Mm.
are some that are kind of like
Yeah.
them, but at the same time, they're just so unique as like a, yeah, like a
Oh,
Uh,
form.
jellyfish are for sure at least like 500 million years old. But some specific things like comb jellies, which are like somewhat similar, but like maybe not quite identical to what we think of when we
Yeah.
think of jellyfish, are like 700 million years old. So they're pretty old.
Yeah.
If it comes before grass, it's pretty old.
Yeah, correct.
hmm Yep. Anyways, that's my case. I would like to enter in jellyfish into our like Hall of Ocean Horrors, if you will.
Yeah, I
Things
think
we
that
think
they
about.
absolutely deserve a
Yeah.
spot. We didn't even talk about the Man of War, and I'm
Yeah.
so disturbed.
I have a feeling that I will think about jellyfish an absurdly large amount in the near future.
Yeah, the Monterey Bay Aquarium video or whatever, not
Oh yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, which also shout out to the Monterey Bay Aquarium though, because
They're good.
because since jellyfish are like have become more popular in aquariums, they're really not well adapted to small spaces like that. Um, and so they need like very specific enclosures that kind of keep them moving in a current, but like very specific like technology that doesn't like you know suck them in the water
Hmm.
um
Yeah.
intake I don't know, I guess filters and stuff. And the Monterey Bay Aquarium does do that, does provide very good uh living facilities for them compared to some other aquariums.
Yeah, I take it back. You can have your little jellyfish live stream. I do like seeing them. Like moon
Yeah.
jellies are probably my favorite.
Oh.
No, I mean I like seeing them too, but they're also so horrible.
Yeah, I never saw one and thought about what if these had disturbingly human-like eyes?
I love the way they just float in like the
I
clearness
know.
of that jellyfish.
It's like if you imagined a ghost but with like innards, like a transparent face and then
Like
eyeballs.
transparent all the way through so you could see the organs of the ghost.
Yeah, a
Hmm
a 2000s cell phone Wii remote controller where it's clear plastic so you
Yeah.
can see
Yeah.
all the insides.
The good old mechanicals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Honestly, just what a creature. Um, I don't know. I think there's sort of like obviously like eels, they play a very important part in food chains and in the ocean ecosystem. But I think the fact that they're sort of posed to really thrive in a time when other animals and other ocean animals are like being really, really negatively affected, I think that's very disturbing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, but we're not just looking at like the Monterey Bay Aquarium now. We're looking at like nuclear power plants that are being overrun with jellyfish.
Yeah, there's a lot of impacts beyond the
Yeah,
basics, I guess.
yeah. Also, just a side note about this, I watched Jeremy Wade's Mysteries of the Deep series, which is where he talked about jellyfish, and that's where I first saw them going into the power plant, like um, cooling like intake, like water intake systems. And um, that episode may or may not have insinuated that um, jellyfish blooms are being like intentionally drawn to power plants because they have radiation,
Oh,
which I can't imagine is based in any kind of
true fact or
true fact at
research.
all.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Like,
think so. I mean, there's very few living things that can handle such harsh things. Like, we have things that can eat out of sea vents, but
Mhm.
that's
and like,
not radiation. That's not
yeah,
unstable particles. Those are their own
Yeah,
separate beast, as we've
yeah.
discussed ad
Well,
nauseam
yeah,
at this
I'd
point.
also say like even things that can handle a certain amount of radiation wouldn't benefit from getting more of it. So like most things aren't going to
yeah,
seek out radiation, even if they can like survive it and be okay.
Yeah.
They're not gonna be
yeah.
like, ooh, yay.
Also, it's like they don't have like a means of thinking about seeking. They're just like
Yeah,
I
they
think
just
they're
are.
essentially just like mouths
They
that
just go
exist
wherever
in
the
the ocean.
current tells them to, basically.
Yeah.
Like they don't, there's not a thought process there to like, ah, yes,
No.
this will be great.
And then also, yeah, like also I'm sure there are ways that animals in theory could sense radiation, but radiation is pretty, you can't really tell it's there unless you're putting a
Developing like
sensor
side
up
effects. Yeah.
or yeah, having bad side effects. But yeah, I had another thought. Oh yeah, I stand by the statement we've had when we talk about the ocean that no, the sailors were right. Actually, there are sea monsters. They're just actual things that exist in the ocean. And also,
Yeah.
who even needs Lovecraft if you have jellyfish?
It's so
There,
true.
there's so many scary things in the ocean that just are. And so they're out here like, there's not really a kraken. And I'm like, giant squid die. There is absolutely a kraken.
Hmm. Like,
It's
what are you
Kraken
talking
shaped.
about?
It's Kraken sized adjacent.
When they
It's
die, they flail and they come up to the surface and create like super hazardous conditions for anything that's near them. Like
yeah.
it's a kraken.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
continue to vote the ocean is bad, don't go there.
Yeah. Maybe
It's
like a little
certainly
dip.
filled with yeah. It's certainly filled with horrors.
I did see the ocean very recently, and it was fun, but like we went in like one time and then we just stood on
Yeah.
the beach for the rest of it.
Yeah.
I
What
think
I've realized about myself is that so growing up, I had this like really unreasonable fear of sharks, to the point where like swimming pool, like it took me a lot of courage to get into like indoor swimming pools, which obviously don't have sharks in them. Um, but what I've realized is that after getting over my initial fear of sharks, I've only found more and more arguably scarier things existing in the ocean.
Yeah,
I would say, and granted, not all fears are rationalized. But I would maybe argue that if sharks are one of your greatest fears, you have not researched the ocean enough.
there are worse
Yes.
things. There are worse
Yeah.
sharks than the ones you're thinking of.
Yeah.
I did, not to aside too much, I did learn recently about why hammerheads are like that.
Oh,
And they actually have the best field of vision of any shark species, and the bigger the hammer, the better the vision.
Mm.
So
fascinating.
they have the most binocular vision, which is vision of the field of vision that is both eyes. They have the highest
Mm.
binocular vision of any shark.
Good for
That
them.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and then they also have a very wide range, obviously, because their eyes are
Yeah.
so far out. But
Mhm.
yeah, I will be thinking of jellyfish, similar to how I think of eels. Um, I wish we knew more about eels. I don't need to know more about jellyfish, actually.
Yeah. They are doing re some research like on the like immortal jellyfish too,
Hmm.
which I'm gonna be honest, it's not like that's really gonna, in my opinion,
Yeah.
my humble opinion, I don't think it's that sort of thing isn't going to get like us anywhere in terms of like humans really, just because it's
Yeah.
like those cells are so different, capable of like very
Yeah.
different um processes
Yeah.
than like human cells
Yeah.
probably could
I've
ever be.
I've seen people talk about the immortal ones in terms of like medical things. And now that we've
Hmm.
talked about how the immortal ones work, I also struggle to see how that would really cross apply. Because like
Yeah,
they're kind of cloning more so than like they
Yeah,
themselves are continuing, and that's not like we've cloned a sheep. Like if we really
yeah.
wanted to, we could maybe do that, but like we've decided that that's not the answer.
Well, and that's what they're talking about when they say like biological immortality.
Yeah.
yeah. There's a level of, yeah, also like regeneration, degeneration. Like the way it happens is very, it puts
Yeah,
to mind like asexual reproduction, which is, we don't have that. And so
yeah. It kind of reminds me of like the curious case of Benjamin Button or whatever.
Yeah. That was
Yeah,
an
yeah,
when he like
odd movie.
he's like born as an old man baby
And he
and
like
then
reverses and then like the
yeah,
romance plot line in that really threw
no,
me off.
oh my gosh, yeah, it's so concerning.
I did not like
yes,
it.
Um, I
jellyfish,
guess
the Benjamin Button of the sea.
spoiler alert for Benjamin Button. Basically, like
It's
he's
been
this,
out for so long.
yeah, yeah. If you haven't seen it, I don't know.
That's on you.
Yeah. But the old man baby,
He ages in
he,
reverse. Like he's born as an old man and then like becomes like 60 and then like gradually becomes like middle
yeah.
age and like has a
But
slight romance with someone when they're like at middle
yeah,
age. So they're like sort of the same age, but he's becoming a child while she's becoming old and it's very weird.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
one's going up
So
the hill, the other's coming down the
Well,
he
and
hill.
it,
meets this girl as a child when he's like, I guess biologically like a 60-year-old man, but then their like paths cross again when she's like older and he's
yeah.
younger and
Well,
they
and their
like
path eventually their paths cross again when he's like really young and basically has like dementia. So he needs like help because yes, he's like really young, but he has like old person like mental
well,
state of like can't remember things. And so he doesn't remember that she exists, but she like basically takes care of him when he's like
yeah,
old
she like
child.
when
It's
he
so weird.
becomes a baby again, she takes care.
None of this is terribly pertinent to jellyfish. It's just odd and it's weird that these jellyfish work like this.
I've never seen it was me that I've never seen that movie.
You don't need to, I
I
would
don't think
say.
I do. I think you summed it up pretty well. Um,
Yeah, we covered the main plot lines.
do you have a place in mind to shout out for this one?
Um, you know what? Shout out to leatherbacks, um, because they're just such great creatures and they'll eat I think most of their diet is jellyfish. So shout out to them. And
Shout
also
out to them.
shout out to the Monterey Bay Aquarium just because I do like them. And they're a healthy way to engage with jellyfish, um, as opposed to most other ways.
There's probably ways to donate or
Yeah,
support them, obviously,
yeah,
by attending if you have the
yeah.
means and are nearby.
Mhm.
There also are lots of like ocean conservation things that
Yeah,
probably would correlate to this. I would just take a moment if you're going to those places to like research them real quick and make sure that they like
are legit.
actually do things that are helpful. Make sure that they're like actually helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely vet sources. If you're interested in the more historical research of things, just any creatures, but I suppose jellyfish are probably included. The Paleontological Research Institution is really great, and they sell little guys. Um, they sell like lobe finfish and Dimetrodon and a ton of stuff. I don't know how. I know they had an Animalicaris, but they were sold out when I was buying them, and I was really sad. But also, you can directly donate because they are facing a lot of funding issues. So, if you're interested in that form of research, which we obviously have some passion for, that would also be a good place if you have the means and want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
donate in some way.
Yeah, anyways, any closing thoughts from you guys?
I'm thinking so much about what makes up a jellyfish and I don't like it.
I I don't I don't like the box jellyfish has eyes. That's my
I think they're
takeaway.
hilarious.
Like they're funny, but they're also deeply horrifying.
Yeah. I think it's the
Yeah.
eyes that you can't see that really are right, because there's two that look kind of like eyes, but the knowledge that there's like 24 other visual seeing organs on that thing that you don't know where those are is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think much in the same way of eels where like I am deeply troubled by them, but also like a little bit delighted by them. Like jellyfish are very, very beautiful creatures. And they're so like I don't know, such a incredible example of like the type of diversity in like bio marine organisms that exist in the ocean. Um, and just a powerhouse of evolution. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't know really anything about jellyfish beyond what jellyfish looked like before this, and I do really like them. Now I am much more perturbed by them as well, but I still think that they're good. Um, and I'm glad that there's so much research into what they are and what they're doing because I think it is really interesting to see how life exists in so many different forms.
Mhm.
They definitely have the benefit of being cute. Like eels are just off-putting in appearance as well as nature. Jellyfish at least
Yeah.
are like cute and scary.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's some things. there's some eels that I maybe visually appreciate more, but not like for the most part, they're just like so slimy.
Yeah,
They have a bad head shape. Most of them just it's just a thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not an unpopular opinion to say like I think moray eels are interesting looking. Like they're scary, but
Yeah.
they look like a predator fish. They look like a in vague terms like a shark, like a barracuda. Like they got the shape where I'm like, yeah,
Hmm.
that's
Yeah.
a scary little fish that's gonna pop out of a hole and eat something.
I think eel behavior is really, I don't know, like I think like moray eel behavior I think is really interesting. Um, like the way they hunt and everything. Um, there's also like an eel, like a moray eel. I'm trying to remember where I saw this. It was probably on like River Monsters because that's where I get a lot of my marine knowledge. But there was like a moray eel that like divers would go down and see and was like kind of friendly with them because they would like feed the eel, and then one time it like attacked one of them. Uh, which, just stone cold.
Sounds about sounds about what I'd expect.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to look at eels again someday. But until then, um, any other thoughts on jellyfish?
Uh, I guess I'm like horrified to see more of them, to be honest.
Yeah,
They're good where they are, I think.
we don't need more, actually. But yeah, this has been hypothetically speaking. Um, if you've noticed, the whole like mystery angle is really just like it's whatever we think is mysterious. But we do try to talk about anything unexplained, unsolved, and unnatural.
Yes.
Other than just natural history, we also talk about ghosts, cryptids, some true crime, and more so in the weird like thefts and things or like mysterious things happening than like murder cases, but maybe at some point we will talk
Yeah.
about a few famous ones. Um,
Mhm. Yeah.
we have a couple episodes up, one about the dancing plague, one about how the birds are in control of everything, one about the uh the Kraken, so another ocean themed
Oh
one.
yeah.
If you are interested, we also have a recent one about the Romanovs. If you want to be sad,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Other than that, um, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Allison, for sharing.
Yeah, of
I
course.
I am terrified of knowing anything more about jellyfish.
Uh,
Yep. With our ocean catchphrase of "We know enough. It's good now."
We're good now. We don't need to know anything else.
uh,
Stop it, get some help. Uh yes. I think that's all, but I've been me, we've been we, and we will see you next time.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, my mouse stopped working. I need to quickly to stop on. All right,
uh,
goodbye.